Why do I study how the great tenor Franco Corelli mastered his vocal technique? 1. Franco Corelli did not receive formal vocal training until his first stage performance. He relied on self-teaching. He initially studied engineering but developed a deep interest in opera. He then explored vocal techniques by listening to records and imitating the singing styles of great singers. Despite lacking formal music education, he gradually mastered the core elements of Italian bel canto technique through his innate talent, excellent tone, and powerful resonance. It was only later that he formally studied under Arturo Melocchi, further developing his singing technique. However, Corelli only respected Melocchi's method and did not adopt the low-larynx singing technique. Throughout his singing career, he encountered two teachers, Volpi and Martinelli. Under their guidance, Corelli learned true vocal technique. What exactly did Volpi and Martinelli teach Corelli? This is what people most want to know, and it is also the subject I have been interested in and researching for a long time. Today, I am publishing my paper on this topic for everyone to consider and analyze. What is the correct vocal technique? This time, I won't talk about who is better or worse. As a singer who aspired to be the best in the world and wanted to master the techniques of great tenors, I ask you to listen carefully. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. I am very familiar with these techniques and can embody them in my own singing. I believe this is a very important subject. Why, except for me, is no one else researching it? Is it because they haven't reached the level? Is it too difficult? Is it too hard to explain? There are many reasons. Nevertheless, I will continue to analyze the most difficult vocal techniques and share my research findings with you. Lori Volpi's vocal advice to Franco Corelli and its impact. Franco Corelli, one of the most dramatic Italian tenors of the 20th century, possessed a voice with a metallic quality and great power. However, his vocal technique underwent several adjustments and refinements, with advice from Giacomo Lauri Volpi having a profound influence. Lauri Volpi was a significant representative of the Italian vocal tradition, renowned for his vast vocal range, bright tone, and exceptional technique. His vocal philosophy emphasized high resonance, smooth breath control, and the natural flow of sound, which contrasted with the technique Corelli had learned under Arturo Melocchi. Thus, when Corelli sought guidance from Lori Volpi, Volpi offered several crucial recommendations for refining Corelli's technique. Lori Volpi's specific advice: 1. Openness in high notes, apertura degli acути. Lori Volpi believed that while Corelli's high notes were powerful, they sometimes relied too much on throat pressure, making the notes somewhat tense. He advised Corelli should reduce the downward pressure on the larynx and open the high notes more. Use higher resonance points to make the sound freer. Apply a high point support technique, allowing high notes to resonate in the forehead, hard palate, and nasal cavity instead of relying heavily on the chest. This adjustment allowed Corelli's high notes to become lighter without losing their dramatic power. 2. Breath continuity, continuità del fiato. Lori Volpi emphasized that Corelli's breath flow was not smooth enough, especially during transitions between high notes. He recommended Corelli should maintain continuous breath flow without sudden interruptions during breath changes. Practice softer breath control to make transitions between notes more seamless. Use more delicate breath management, ensuring each note is carried on the breath rather than forcing the sound with the throat. This improvement helped Corelli's arias become more fluid, enhancing the overall flow of his singing. 3. Vowel adjustment, regolazione delle vocali. Lori Volpi noticed that Corelli's vowel production sometimes caused imbalances, leading to tonal differences across various registers. He suggested, unify the vowel placements to avoid certain vowels being overly expanded or compressed. Adjust vowels like I and E in the high range to make them rounder. Avoid overly darkening vowels like O and U in the lower range, ensuring tonal consistency. This helped Corelli achieve a more even sound across his range, making his singing smoother and more stable. Number 4. Resonance optimization, ottimizzazione della risonanza. Lauri Volpi emphasized that balanced resonance was key to shaping a dramatic voice. Although Corelli's early sound was powerful, his resonance lacked consistency across different registers. He advised, reduce the dominance of the chest resonance and enhance head resonance. Maintain the same vocal tract shape in all registers, avoiding distinct resonance techniques for high and low notes. Allow the sound to naturally rise instead of pushing it out. These suggestions helped Corelli achieve better control over his high notes and improved resonance consistency. Impact and conclusion. Lori Volpi's advice had a significant impact on Corelli's singing, making his high notes brighter, his tone more unified, and his breath flow smoother. The specific improvements were seen in 1. Freedom in high notes. Corelli's high notes became more open, reducing tension and increasing brightness. 2. Breath smoothness. His legato improved, especially evident in his performances of Verdi and Puccini works, showing better breath control. 3. Tone balance. The tonal quality of the low and high registers became more uniform, no longer sounding disconnected. 4. Combination of drama and flexibility. Corelli maintained the dramatic power of a tenor while adding greater flexibility to his sound, making his singing more nuanced. In summary, Lori Volpi's guidance helped Corelli refine his control over high notes, breath management, and tonal balance. This shows that a dramatic tenor needs not only a powerful voice, but also proper resonance control and precise breath management to achieve truly perfect vocal performance. Giovanni Martinelli's vocal advice to Franco Corelli and its impact. Background introduction. Franco Corelli is regarded as one of the most dramatic Italian tenors of the 20th century, known for his powerful, metallic sound and broad, penetrating tone. However, his vocal career was not without challenges, especially in the early years, due to a lack of formal training. Corelli initially trained under Arturo Melocchi, who promoted a chest voice dominant vocal approach that emphasized deep throat resonance and downward pressure in the larynx. While this method gave Corelli a strong voice, it also led to technical issues such as a lack of flexibility in the high register, insufficient voice control, and restricted breath flow. Giovanni Martinelli, a representative of the traditional Italian high resonance system, was one of the greatest dramatic tenors in history, known for his piercing high notes, excellent breath control, and bright, focused tone. His vocal philosophy differed from that of Melocchi, focusing more on sound concentration, breath management, and resonance optimization. Thus, when Corelli sought advice from Martinelli, he received suggestions that helped him refine his technique. Martinelli's specific advice to Corelli. 1. Sound focus, focalizzazione del suono. Martinelli believed that Corelli's early vocal approach was too spread, i.e., the sound was too wide, lacking the necessary focus, which caused instability in the high notes. He advised Corelli to adjust the shape of his vocal tract to concentrate the sound in the mask area, the front of the face, rather than relying too much on the throat or chest resonance. Martinelli emphasized the sound should always stay in the head and mask resonance, not overly dependent on chest resonance. Corelli's high notes, when using Melocchi's technique, often became heavy. Martinelli believed this diminished the clarity of the tone and made the pitch unstable. He suggested Corelli maintain the resonance in the forehead, hard palate, and nasal cavity with every vowel to ensure piercing clarity. This adjustment had a significant impact on Corelli, allowing him to maintain dramatic power while enhancing the clarity and stability of his high notes. 2. Breath control, controllo del fiato. While Corelli was famous for his powerful high notes, his early vocal method often led him to rely too much on throat muscles, lacking proper breath support, appoggio. Martinelli stressed, the sound must ride on the breath, not be pushed out. Corelli needed to learn to release breath steadily through diaphragm and abdominal control, rather than relying on the throat muscles. He advised Corelli to practice long notes and legato phrasing to ensure the smooth flow of breath. Over time, Corelli learned to use his breath more effectively, improving the strength and control of his high notes. Number 3. Tone adjustment, regolazione del timbro. Martinelli was known for his bright, penetrating tone, while Corelli's early voice, though powerful, sometimes sounded too dark or heavy. Martinelli believed Corelli needed to reduce excessive throat pressure to allow the tone to open. He recommended adjusting vowels to keep them bright without over-throating them. Using high resonance, Corelli's voice could be made clearer, rather than relying solely on chest resonance to create dramatic effects. This advice led Corelli to produce more varied tonal colors, particularly in his later performances of Verdi and Puccini works, allowing for a better adaptation of his high notes. Number 4. Resonance optimization, ottimizzazione della risonanza. Corelli's early use of Melocchi's low-laryngeal technique resulted in very rich low notes, but sometimes made the high notes heavy or lacking fluidity. Martinelli suggested the high register should maintain an open resonance, not rely on throat tension to push the high notes. Nasal and frontal sinus resonance should remain consistent across all registers, rather than adjusting only in the high notes. Imagine the sound floating on the forehead, not being squeezed out by the throat. This was crucial for Corelli, helping him maintain dramatic power while improving the flexibility of his tone. Impact and conclusion. Martinelli's advice had a profound effect on Corelli's vocal development. Although Corelli retained some characteristics of Melocchi's technique, such as the low larynx and rich tone, his later performances exhibited better vocal focus, smoother high notes, and more balanced breath management. The changes resulting from Martinelli's guidance can be observed in the following ways. 1. Stability of high notes. Early on, Corelli's high notes could be overforced, but later, his high notes became more relaxed and no longer depended on throat tension. Number 2. Penetration of tone. After the adjustments, Corelli's tone maintained dramatic power but became brighter with enhanced clarity. 3. Breath flow. His legato became smoother, especially evident in his arias from Verdi's works. 4. Tone balance. His middle register became more colorful, and instead of relying solely on chest resonance, it combined head and nasal resonance, making the overall tone more balanced. In conclusion, Martinelli's guidance helped Corelli achieve better vocal management, transforming him from a tenor who relied solely on dramatic power into a more technically complete and expressive singer. This also proves that dramatic singing does not just depend on loudness and heaviness of the voice, but requires scientifically controlled sound concentration, resonance adjustment, and breath management. Just of 4, similarities and differences in Martinelli and Volpi's vocal guidance for Corelli. By analyzing the vocal guidance provided by Martinelli and Lauri Volpi to Corelli, we can observe both similarities and differences in their singing techniques. While both share a common understanding of certain technical aspects, they also have unique perspectives on the implementation of these techniques and the shaping of vocal tone. Similarities, 5 aspects. 1. Openness in high notes. I believe both Martinelli and Lauri Volpi emphasize the openness of high notes, advising not to push from the throat, but to let the high notes rise naturally. They both agree that Corelli needs to reduce tension in the throat to allow for greater freedom in his high notes. 2. Breath management. Both emphasize that singing should rely on stable breath support theory rather than solely on throat power. The two singers' breath support. Martinelli emphasizes deep breathing and maintaining chest support, while Lauri Volpi stresses the continuity of breath to make the high notes smoother. 3. Optimization of resonance. I feel both believe that Corelli needs to better balance chest and head resonance for a more rounded tone. Martinelli suggests strengthening forehead resonance, while Lauri Volpi emphasizes reducing the dominance of chest resonance to allow the sound to rise more easily. 4. Vowel adjustment. Both advise Corelli to unify the placement of vowels to maintain consistency in tone quality. Martinelli focuses on the connection of vowels, while Lauri Volpi emphasizes the shape adjustment of vowels to ensure more balanced sound across different vocal registers. Number 5, dramatic expression. They both believe that Corelli should express drama more naturally, rather than relying on excessive muscle control. Martinelli tends to encourage Corelli to shape dramatic expression with breath, while Lauri Volpi suggests using tonal changes to intensify emotional expression. Differences, 5 aspects. 1. Adjustment of vocal placement. I feel that Martinelli leans toward guiding Corelli to place his voice more forward to enhance projection, Lori Volpi, however, suggests a higher vocal resonance, reducing chest pressure to make the sound lighter. 2. Breath support method. Martinelli emphasizes the importance of chest support to maintain steady control of breath. Lori Volpi focuses more on breath flow, making the singing process lighter and less reliant on muscle support. 3. Handling of high notes. I understand that Martinelli believes Corelli should produce high notes with a more concentrated resonance point rather than forcing them out. Lori Volpi, on the other hand, advises Corelli to adopt a more open approach, allowing the high notes to sound brighter. 4. Balance of tone quality. Martinelli focuses on ensuring consistency of tone between the low and high registers, preventing the low notes from sounding too dark or the high notes too bright. Lori Volpi places more emphasis on the balance between vowels, ensuring uniform color in every pitch. 5. Focus on dramatic expression. Martinelli believes dramatic expression should rely more on inner emotions and control over vocal lines. Lori Volpi places greater emphasis on the dramatic changes in timbre, such as incorporating different resonating techniques in various registers to enhance dramatic effects. Through my analysis of the guidance provided by Martinelli and Lori Volpi to Corelli, I can see that they share many similar principles, especially in breath management and openness in high notes. However, they also exhibit differences in specific techniques and approaches, reflecting their personal artistic views and unique understanding of vocal technique. By combining my clock breath distribution theory, I can target specific learning from Martinelli and Lori Volpi's vocal techniques, helping avoid vocal cord deterioration in later stages of a singer's career and ensuring better protection for the vocal cords, leading to a longer singing career. This is the purpose of writing this paper.